playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Giants are probably going to open up 1-5 on the season. So then you start to say the fans are getting angry. They just want to see Dart. The ownership's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we make the right move with Russ here. But then you have self-preservation mode with the general manager and the head coach where it almost seems like it's inevitable. Midway through the season, it's going to have to be Jackson Dart. Otherwise, what are we doing, Giants?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It should be illegal for Scottie Scheffler to play on the PGA Tour. This guy can't be stopped. Another victory at the BMW Championship. He has a chip on the 17th, which will go down in the history books. 82 feet, landed 60 feet short, and then rolled the rest of the way. Super exciting win again for Scheffler, who is not only the best golfer in the world, he's becoming one of the best golfers of all time.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on Sport.
Let's get down to business. It's game time decisions. We are live on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you for the next 90 minutes from the decisions desk. Making decisions all week, all the time, right here on SportsGrid. Packers, Commanders, undeniably where the eyes will be for most people tonight. Green Bay, a moving number from 3.5 down to 3 in most places. That hook is largely gone in the market. Right now, the total for this game sitting 49.5, up to a flat 49 in some areas. This spread move, the why of it all. The look-aheads were a bit lighter. Green Bay was dominant against Detroit, which I think introduced that 3.5. And I think some love for Jaden Daniels has repositioned this to a flat field goal here on a Thursday night. And love for Jaden Daniels is not hard to find as you take a look at the league MVP market, where only Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have shorter prices. Jaden Daniels, with a win tonight, will see that number decrease without a shadow of a doubt. Now, he's not going to jump Josh or Lamar, at least not until Sunday afternoon, if perhaps one or both were to struggle mightily. Even then, I'm not sure it would be enough. But Jaden Daniels' sophomore season off to a good start. Went for over 300 yards of offense, threw a touchdown, efficient enough. He was not perfect. I like this Giants defense, though, so I could give him a bit of a pass in that spot. We've talked throughout the week about Daniels as a runner, and will that be on display tonight? I think it will be on display throughout this season. The trick, though, for Jaden Daniels is finding a way to break down this Green Bay Packer defense. No unit off of week 1 praised more than Green Bay's defense, of course, highlighted by newly acquired Micah Parsons. Parsons sitting now comfortably inside that top 3 to win Defensive Player of the Year, despite not playing a full workload of snaps against the Lions, was home for a sack against Jared Goff. He's minus money in the market to get a sack tonight against Jaden Daniels, something he was able to do in those matchups between Dallas and Washington last season. What would a Packers win not just mean for them, but for the market? it means they will continue to knock on the door for Super Bowl favorites, at least NFC favorites. Remember, Philly plays in the game of the week, one of the games of the year, this Sunday on the road in Arrowhead. A potential loss for Philly paired with a win tonight for the Packers, and I think that could be enough to push Green Bay atop this NFC market. So, if you are a Packer believer and you want the best of the number, at least early season, it very well could be before tonight's game kicks off. The props that people will be watching, you've got a star in Josh Jacobs, who had a great year last year, little inefficient in week number 1, but expected to have another big night. He's the heaviest touchdown scorer in the market. On the other side, it's a running back room that does not have a ton of clarity, but has a lot of names. Ja'Cory Krosky merit the most noteworthy, of course, Big Bill. What does he do tonight? What does Austin Eckler bring to the table? And not just the ground game, but of course, the receiving game. Receiving questions also super relevant for the Packers room. Jordan Love last week was really good. And a part of that was how he spread it out. He had only one guy over 50 receiving yards. He had no players over 3 receptions, and the top mark was Jaden Reed at 3. He had 2 for Dobbs, 2 for Wicks, 2 for Kraft, and 2 for rookie Matthew Golden. The ball was spread out for the Green Bay Packers. Golden, seeing maybe the biggest week-over-week drop, he was closer to 49.5 in week 1 against the Lions. That number has come down quite a bit here to a 34.5 against the Commanders. We will talk about this game throughout tonight's show. We will talk to Adam Kaplan in just under an hour and get hit the words that he's hearing around this game and around an important week 2 of NFL action. Mike Blewett will join us in a little over an hour to get his thoughts on tonight's matchup and some of the key 1 o'clock games he'll be following on In-Game Live. Donnie Rightside will join us here in just under 5 minutes' time to get his picks and breakdowns for Packers Commanders, as well as the Major League Baseball board, as the baseball board still has a couple of offerings, most noteworthy, Philadelphia and New York, as the Phils look for a 4-game sweep against the Mets, where the storyline is no longer the NL East. A 10-game lead for the Philadelphia Phillies is the biggest in baseball. It is unimaginable that the Mets could creep back into that conversation. In fact, the bigger reality for the Mets is they look the most vulnerable in this wild card race in the National League. The Padres are 5 clear of the Reds and Giants. The Mets just 2. Cincinnati on a 2-game winning streak. The Giants lost yesterday to Arizona. Neither one of those teams in action tonight, so a half game could be gained if the Phillies are able to get the job done as favorites in their ballpark. Another New York sweep also could be had. The Yankees home for this one, losing the first 2 games to Detroit, on aggregate, 23-3. They've been 10-pieced in both of the first 2 games of that series. We will see how that looks tonight. You may also, on this Thursday night, look to get involved in the final night of WNBA regular season action. What is on the line? Really simple. If the Aces win, they are the 2 seed. If they lose, they are the 3 seed, and the dream will stay at 2. So all Vegas needs to do is finish the regular season on a 16-game winning streak, more than a double-digit favorite on the road against the Sparks. The other noteworthy spot for the standings is the Valkyries and their trip to Minnesota. If Golden State wins, they go to 6. If Golden State loses, they fall to 8. We will see how that shakes out, and we will then get the WNBA finalized bracket. We know the 8 teams. We do not know the order just yet. Lastly, the college football world tonight with some power action. It's the ACC taking center stage at 7:30. Wake Forest over a touchdown dog at home to NC State. Tricky side, tricky total, but a prop that stood out to me, Hollywood Smothers. What a name. The running back for NC State has been getting busy in the receiving game. He's had 3+ targets in each of the first 2 this season. Dating back to last year, if he has at least 3 targets in a game, he averages over 36.5 receiving yards per game. Tonight's number, 18.5. I think you see Hollywood Smothers get in the mix through the air in the receiving game against Wake Forest for the Wolfpack. We're running up against the break here. We've set the deck. Let's continue to dive in to Packers Commanders. And we do that with the host of the early line right here on SportsGrid, Donnie Rightside. After this break, we are live with you. It's Game Time Decisions, Thursday Night Football.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're going to have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month. That is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're going to win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Game-time Decisions is live on SportsGrid at night. The early line, of course, live on SportsGrid throughout the morning, led by Donnie Rightside. He joins us now to talk some Thursday night football. We'll talk a little baseball, even likely put our eye towards some of that Sunday slate. DRS, I just want to start, though, with the movement we've seen around Packers Commanders. Most of these 3.5s are gone. Now starting to settle up at a flat 3. What's your read here with the Packers being one of the most hyped up teams after the opening week of the NFL season?
in the first 2 weeks, right, Kevin? Because you understand, like, you watch week number one, it's like, ooh, these teams are good. And week number two, like, whoa, what actually happened? But also understand this. You know my philosophy on Thursday night. Try to build towards the home team or no team. I got to tell you, I completely agree with that line movement from 3.5 down to 3. Like, I like Washington tonight. We're early enough in the season where it's like, all right, well, you got to travel on the road. It's a disadvantage, but it's not week 7, week 8, week 9 where you're exhausted and then have to go on the road. I think there's something to that line movement with Washington where we loved what we saw out of Green Bay and Micah Parsons and Detroit. Oh, my goodness, Detroit's the best team in the NFC. They killed them at that point. But there's something that works today, and that is Jaden Daniels up against that pass rush. If there's one guy that goes, yeah, rush me all you want with 4 guys. You got come up the field, I'll split it, 6 yards, first down, 8 yards, first down, let's go. There's something to this. I actually like Washington tonight, Kevin.
I agree with you in terms of Jaden Daniels on the ground, Donnie. We did some week one overreactions earlier this week, and it was something I was feeling entering the year, and week one only pushed me further. I think he runs for 1,000 this season. I think it's just going to be a key part of their offense and their identity. But beyond Jaden on the ground, this is a tricky props game. I guess Josh Jacobs as well, but you've got a crowded Green Bay wide receiver room, a messy Washington running back room, and McLaurin, I don't think this will hold over a full year, but in week 1, he wasn't top dog. That was newly acquired Deebo Samuel.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head again. We're still waiting to see how that wide receiver room is going to work out. It's not like, hey, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown in Philadelphia, they'll get it together. They've been together for a couple years. We don't know really where you fit into this offense. Like Terry McLaurin fighting for money. Were they telling him actually, Kevin, in the offseason, like, hey, we don't know if you're going to be that big of a part of this offense. We don't want to pay all that much money. Did they know like Deebo was going to be that lead guy or what they were going to actually transition to? But you're right about this. Like the numbers are low. We have a total that's close to, let's call it 50 points, all right, if you round it up. McLaurin, 51 yards. Deebo, 49.5. You take a look at the Packers. The lead dog is 38.5 at this point. It's almost crazy. Romeo Doubs at 42.5. It's wild to try to pick and say, boy, these look really easy. And go, well, wait a second. Why does Terry McLaurin have 2 targets in the second half? He's got 9 yards so far. It's so hard to pinpoint where to go in the first 2 weeks, particularly with very deep wide receiver rooms where maybe we don't have the lead dog just yet, Kevin.
Yeah, I think that is true, and I think it's why. Listen, it's to each his own. But for me in the props market, it's more of a no sweat night, Donnie, where, okay, let's pair a couple of things, I think, and let's see ultimately what results we get. Now, if we get a Green Bay win tonight, Donnie, I think we would be an Eagles Sunday loss away from them becoming NFC favorites. I am pretty sure, though, you would be surprised if the Eagles lost in Kansas City. What is your read on one of the biggest games we'll see all season happening in week number 2?
I can't wait to watch this Eagles game play out because you have the playoff of the Super Bowl where the Eagles absolutely detonated that football team. I like to joke around. Like the best thing that Kansas City can do is leave the sprinklers on all night so nobody has traction the next day and Patrick Mahomes won't be sacked. He'll be able to do what he does. But understand this. The things why we liked Kansas City this year was like, retooled wide receiver room. Rashee Rice is going to be there. Worthy's there another year. Both of those guys are probably going to be down for this game. We know 100% Rice won't be there, but we see like the practices and how it's going. Let's just say their top 2 wideouts are done. The Philadelphia Eagles say, okay, that third corner. You don't need a third cornerback if a team has 1 wide receiver. You put your top cornerback on their top wide receiver and you tell everybody to go deal with it, and we'll handle it. And Jalen Carter comes back. I do think the Philadelphia Eagles are the better team and are excited to play, had an extra day rest, and coming in a little bit healthier outside of Dallas Goedert for this one. I think the Eagles win this one.
This is one of these things for me, Donnie. I talked about this when the schedule dropped. I couldn't believe it, but it was something fresh of mind. The Eagles last year going to Brazil, they lost their week 2 game against the Falcons, where I thought that was always going to be a tricky game because you're coming back from Brazil in week 1, international game, super unknown. The fact that the Chiefs are coming back from Brazil at a rest deficit, I know it's a day, but they should be at the rest advantage, and they're not. The tough part for me is, and listen, you and I have joked about this over the years, but I know it's a 1.5 point spread. I'd feel so much more comfortable if it was 1.5 the other way. It is still the idea of Mahomes as a home underdog. I may end up in your ballpark for this game with an Eagle team total. I know you're mentioning the Chiefs' shortcomings on the offensive side, but I think the Eagles have a number of stars, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, who are kind of due to erupt in this matchup.
You're right about that. And here's what I like the best. Like, Jalen Hurts does not get enough credit. And it feels like, Kevin and Donnie like the Eagles. Of course, it's Jalen Hurts. Kevin knows me. I've been banging on Jalen Hurts for a couple years, but you can't deny how he's been in big-time games. He's super clutch. And also, I thought he was phenomenal in week number 1. And you're telling me right now they won that game against the Dallas Cowboys where you got no participation from A.J. Brown, none for Devontae Smith, and an average game for Saquon Barkley. What happens when they start to bust out here? So when I look at Jalen Hurts, it's not like, well, I just got him in the Super Bowl last year and I'm the MVP. He really wants to hang another one on the mantle by going into Kansas City, which he's done before and won, and pull out another victory. This is no longer the Kansas City Chiefs of 4 to 5 years ago where you don't touch them in Kansas City. This is an Eagles team that's used to beating the Kansas City Chiefs and has beaten them in Kansas City.
And to that idea, the other team that's used to beating Kansas City, at least in the regular season, is the Buffalo Bills. The only other time the Chiefs were home dogs was to Buffalo, and they lost that football game. So it could be one of those things where, look, if the books know what they're doing, and by putting Mahomes as a home dog, and if they're doing it, maybe they are right. Let's take a quick break here on Game Time Decisions. We're going to come back with Donnie Rightside. I do want to get his thoughts on the Major League Baseball board. He and both Tom Vecchio had a fantastic season with pro baseball today. I know we're in, full football mode, but Donnie still has this baseball board cover. And it is one of the things we've talked about on this show. The idea that the playoff bracket was going to be set in June, July. There looks to be a vulnerable team out there in the National League. We'll talk about that next year on...
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Some big news within the In-N-Out reports around Thursday Night Football. Micah Parsons in. A couple of starters on the offensive line, most notably Zach Tom, the tackle for the Packers, will be out. Certainly, you could point towards that being a portion or a part of the reason why this line has moved here on Thursday night. We're joined by the Early Line's Donnie Rightside here on Game Time Decisions. Donnie, I'll go to this quickly. The In-N-Out report, anything surprise you? Anything change your perception around Packers Commanders?
Well, it doesn't really change my perception. As we talked about, I do like Washington. This fortifies it just a little bit. Like, if you can say, like, hey, you're down an inside linebacker or a wide receiver, okay, you can deal with that. If you're down multiple offensive linemen, Kevin, I'd love to say this. That means injuries don't stop. You're down 2 for tonight. What happens if somebody else gets injured? Where are you going to? A backup tackle to try to play right guard or left guard at this point right now? It just fortifies it a little bit more, where I don't know if Washington is the right side because we're talking about week 2, but certainly, Kevin, this doesn't help Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's preference is necessarily not having multiple starting offensive linemen. So that, of course, a piece of the puzzle there. I'm curious to see if this number, again, how much of that was already kind of baked into the move. Could there be more of a move coming? Sometimes once those things become official, you see, 2.5. I'll tell people this right now. I am someone who's very interested in betting the Niners this weekend. I'm just wondering, as we get closer and closer and closer, and people are like, oh, wow, Mac Jones is starting? Could I get it 2.5? I'm being a little bit greedy on the -3 that is out there right now. Again, Donnie Rightside with us here does an excellent job still staying plugged into the Major League Baseball board. And Donnie, the Phillies favored tonight.
Yeah.
It would be a sweep of the Mets.
Yep.
And it would put the Mets in legitimate danger now of maybe missing the playoffs. They've got multiple teams hot on their heels.
Yes, and also, I do think the Phillies sweep them out, but understand this. We love to look at line movement, Kevin. The Phillies this morning, when I'm doing the show, -145s, -150s. You look right now, it's roughly a pick'em at this point. So money coming in on the Mets, but there's also something about momentum in Major League Baseball. You tell me the Phillies enter the series after getting swept by the Mets and going, all right, well, let's put Trey Turner, who led, or still probably leading, the National League in hits, and also Alec Boehm, and we lost Zach Wheeler. Oh, no, here go the Mets, going to win 3 out of 4, sweep the Phillies again and be close. The Phillies have detonated this baseball team here, and I think they're going to do it again tonight. Luzardo's been fantastic. Those Phillies bats. Is Harrison Bader the best player in Major League Baseball since the trade?
We did lose Donnie right there. His internet, which is almost always reliable, shaky a little bit here on a Thursday night, which is a bit surprising. I do think Donnie is right to just point to the Phillies piece of this because, again, the Mets grab the headlines because they could be the team to miss out on the playoffs, and that would be a disastrous result. But the Phillies continuing to put up wins while injured, it's encouraging. I still struggle with it. And I think what it really amounts to is just a very open World Series push. Or again, not, right? Like, maybe it's just going to be Dodgers, Phillies, NLCS, and then there'll be, legitimately big favorites in the World Series, and that's how this is all going to, finally slice up here, right? But it's like every day I come on, I'm like, shouldn't the Dodgers move back a little bit? They don't seem to be as good as the numbers. And then shouldn't the Phillies move back a little bit? They're super injured. Shouldn't the Brewers move back a little bit? We don't really believe in that. Like, shouldn't the Yankees move back a little bit? They're not that good. Tigers aren't that good. Blue Jays are. Okay, well, someone's got to win the World Series. Someone's got to win. What am I going to still pretend the Astros are as good as I thought they were? Right? Like, that kind of becomes the situation here. Donnie, if we can hold on for 50 remaining seconds
Stop
here.
zapping me behind there. Sabotage.
Do you have anything you're on for tonight's baseball card?
By the way, if you are a Yankees fan, have some faith tonight. You are going to win this baseball game. You will hit tonight. There's an opener that's not very good. Gibson Long's coming in. Those nights of 1, 2, and 3 runs, you should be able to get 5+ runs tonight. So if you are a Yankee backer tonight, they should win this game comfortably going away. Unless Detroit hits another 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 runs in the Bronx, the Yankees will hit tonight. Take that to the bank.
All right, so maybe the over then, because I don't know. The Yankees right now, weird vibes. Weird. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. Also, every time the Yankees, I know he's not still doing it, but every time the Yankees can't score, I somehow mention DJ LeMahieu's at fault. I don't know what that is.
Exactly.
I don't know how I can describe that, but it feels like it's his fault.
Bang a team total. It's what we should do.
Over the 1.5, baby. All right, Donnie, we appreciate it. As always, again, check Donnie Rightside out every morning right here on SportsGrid on the early line, as well as college football today with Joe Lisi on Saturdays. We'll be right back.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Let's talk football. Kevin Walsh with you right here on GameTime Decisions. And on a Thursday night, we have a battle between two top teams in the NFC. And that is absolutely an accurate description, at least until the game plays out. Because whoever wins this game is going to get a big bump in the market. Like, even if Washington pulls off, it's going to get a big bump in the market. Let's start with a couple of picks here. We haven't hit these just yet. How about a touchdown Thursday, okay? Jackpot, if you're looking to find the end zone, we have a couple of options for you tonight. I'm taking Terry McLaurin, a little bit of a bounce-back spot here for Terry. Jaden Daniels actually missed him on a 50-plus yard touchdown last week. I think Terry could have a nice night. I don't mind tossing him in a number of no sweats for yardage, whether that be down low 40, straight number 50, alt number 70. I think Terry McLaurin is involved. Chris is going to go to Romeo Doubs. I don't mind that one bit. I think Doubs is actually one of the more underrated receivers in football. And that's not to say that he's a top 10, top 15 guy, but it's to say that Romeo Doubs has as good of a chance to be the top guy on this Packers offense as Jaden Reed or Matthew Golden or Dontavian Wicks, quite frankly. Golden gets some love from Yarnell in this spot. I don't mind that either. I think that all of these guys have a legitimate shout to have an impact here and find themselves the end zone on this Thursday night. Let's take it to best bets here, okay? Yarnell is going to go with a first quarter over 9.5. Sharp early season for Sam in these opening quarters. He's looking for points. Chris goes to the famous 1-1 each team for a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown at plus 145. You would have been able to cash that on a Monday night, I know for sure, as well as a Sunday night. Not that it only exists in prime time, but people often look for it in the primetime markets. Would it have hit on Friday? I don't think. The Chargers had a rushing touchdown. Definitely would not have hit last Thursday. Eagles, Cowboys, just to give you an idea of the hit rate frequency. But you see my best bet there, and that is where we lock in. I'm laying the 3 with the Green Bay Packers. And this is a game that when I first put my eyes on it, right, I think especially true in week 2 for me, if a team who had a great week 1 is a favorite over a key number, I think my initial thought will be to fade. That will be my initial reaction. So Buffalo on open, there were 7.5s out there. A little pricey, but they were there, right? And my mind was like, boom, okay, Jets has to be. Now that number's moved from flat 7 to 6.5. But again, Buffalo, right, had this nothing but praise performance, okay? Green Bay, very similar. The difference of it all, though, is the situation. The Bills are on the road in division. The Packers are at home against the Commanders, and we've moved off 3.5 down to a flat 3. I think I hear in a number of the Commander breakdowns, and I'm not trying to slander anyone, but a lot of it is like, that feels a little rich. Well, now that we're at a flat 3, you're trying to win this football game. You have to have a lot of belief that the Commanders are going to win this game. You can get out of here with a cover, but I would imagine that you would expect Washington to win this football game, especially now that we're down to a flat 3. I don't expect that. I think being at home on a Thursday night is really valuable. And I think the Green Bay Packers have an opportunity to be, at least early season, in the regular season, a bit of a juggernaut. I think this team may be able to beat point spreads early season with consistency. We look to Sunday against the Detroit Lions, a number that bounced around from 2.5 down to 1.5, people loving the Lions. It was Packers and it was pure. There was not a moment in that game where Detroit could have a case as the side. It was 7-0, and then it was 10-0, and then it was 17-3, and it was a rout. It was a rout. Some of the yardage numbers look close. The Packers shut up shop. That happens, right? But again, the number was never in doubt. And that could be the same true story here tonight when we're dealing with just a flat 3 points at home, right? Again, what does home field advantage amount to? Not 3 anymore. It can't be. Are these even football teams? They're not even football teams, right? If you think it's 1.5, okay, can I talk you into an extra half point, though, for a Thursday nighter? You gotta have some consideration there, I think, at least. And I think the fact that the Packers can win this game either side of the ball. Their offense clicked early, their defense clicked throughout the game. And that gives me an additional bit of faith. And just to open up this notion of Green Bay being a bit of an early season house, I think they win tonight. Obviously, I think they cover tonight. The next stop is at Cleveland. The Browns are getting over double digits in their game this week on the road against Baltimore. If they're able to cover Cleveland, if they're able to cover, I would be stunned if they won the game. But let's just say they 10, right? Maybe they backdoored. It's a 7. It's whatever it might be. What does a Packer number look like at Cleveland? Maybe a 7? It's on the board, right? A mini bye against that awful team. I'm already thinking I'm not going to be scared to lay it on the road against the Browns. Now, if the Ravens destroy Cleveland, it could get out of whack, right? A week 4 trip to Dallas. We know what that is, right? We know what that's going to be, what that conversation is going to be. What's the perception around in terms of Micah Parsons, the how it's going to be amplified? But my point is, for Dallas, who was given a lot of praise for losing against the Eagles, could that number be lighter than anticipated? 3.5, 2.5, maybe. The Packers have my attention in terms of sides week to week. There are concerns I had about this group that will be unshakable unless they are in the Super Bowl probably. And you might say that's unfair, but I don't think it is. I've seen Matt LaFleur deliver regular season juggernauts before. With Aaron Rodgers in MVP seasons where Rodgers was the guy. Again, Aaron Rodgers had a 2-year window where he threw 85 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. A couple of MVPs. They were the 1 seed. It resulted in no trips to the Super Bowl, a home loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and a home loss in the divisional round off a bye to Garoppolo and the Niners. Jordan Love's interceptions, they come in waves. So Jordan Love right now, right, he's on this heater. He's not throwing picks. We go back to last regular season. Lest we forget how the playoffs ended with those 3 INTs. Again, I'm aware I am here and comfortable and ready for how this market is going to move. Packers handle business like I think tonight. If the Eagles trip up, even if the Eagles don't trip up, honestly, the Packers might just move to conference favorites. So be it. And I might take to the window in week 3, 4, and continue to see how this market moves. They have an early season bye. That may not be good for them. We don't know. The Packers in the regular season, I feel in. In the postseason, Super Bowl, I'll sell. But we're laying the 3 tonight with the Packers at home. Let's look around the board. It's a busy night in the W and the Major League Baseball world. And the college football sneaks in next on a Thursday.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're going to have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month. That is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're going to win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from 2 teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back with you guys right here on a Thursday night on SportsGrid. Still a lot of good stuff to come. We're going to talk to our guy Mark Marcelino, get a couple of soccer picks on the board in 10 minutes. We've got Adam Kaplan coming up in 15 minutes for some news and notes combined. For some notes around not just Thursday night, but Sunday as well. And then Mike Blewett joins us in 20 minutes, probably closer to a half hour. We'll have Mike Blewett here on Game Time Decisions. Let's just go around the board quickly. We'll start with the college football, okay? I am on Hollywood Smothers over 18.5 receiving yards. He had 3+ targets in each of the first 2 games this season. He had 30 yards in game 1, 13 yards in game number 2. If you go back to last season, okay, he has started to become more and more involved as a receiver for the NC State offense. Over his sample size of games with 3+ targets, he averages 36 yards per game. So at 18.5, that looks like a clear bounce back spot. I don't hate that Wake last week was allowing some of the catamount running backs to be involved in the receiving game, and as a unit went well through this number. Hollywood Smothers over 18.5 receiving yards. For those of you who can get involved with the college football player props, it's a 7.5-point spread in favor of NC State. Total in this one is 52.5. Major League Baseball board did not call my name fully tonight. There are some key spots, though, involving the New York teams. Yankees look to avoid a sweep. Mets look to avoid a sweep. More pressure on the Mets, I would suggest, because the Yankees right now have teams in between them, albeit a not monstrous lead. The Yankees are 4 up on the Texas Rangers compared to the Mets being 2 up on the Giants and the Reds. But the Yankees right now own a tiebreaker over, or not a tiebreaker, but are technically above Boston in the standings. They're above Seattle in the standings as well, where the Mets have no one in between them and these teams that are chasing them, and they're both 2 back in terms of the Mets, in terms of the Giants and the Reds. That's where that pressure is going to be applied. The late night baseball sees Seattle a favorite over Jose Soriano and the Angels. One of the most boomer bust pitchers in baseball, Jose Soriano. Bryce Miller gets the ball for Seattle. And then Randy Vasquez is over minus 250 tonight. Why? Because the Colorado Rockies come to town as they just finished off being swept by the Dodgers and are currently on a 5-game losing streak heading into the matchup with the Padres. The W tonight has 4 games. How much any of it means, it all varies, okay? For the Liberty, the expectation is they're going to play their players. It's a clean injury report. But why would the Liberty, who have dealt with injuries all season, actually play their players? It doesn't really make any sense. At least full workload. Okay, maybe you want to get out there, get a little bit of momentum. Okay, that's fine. The Liberty cannot change their standing. On the road, laying nearly 15, that looks tall to me. You guys know this, whether it's the last week of the NFL season, last day of the NBA season, that stuff can always get wonky. It could get wonky tonight between the Liberty and the Sky. Phoenix and Dallas with, again, really much of nothing at stakes here. It should be. Expectation is Paige Beckers will be playing. And if she is, then it'll be her final game of what is likely going to end up a Rookie of the Year campaign. For Paige, she had moments of brilliance, and she is closing it out with a pretty solid close here. 17, 27, and 18, her scoring efforts in her last 3 games. Very efficient, 50+% from the field in all 3. The final 2 games are where you start to have some stakes. The Lynx tonight may also play Nafisha Collier. Again, how much? I'm sure the Lynx would like to end the season on a win. I wonder more so if the Lynx like the matchup, though, with Golden State. So they control who they play to a degree. If the Lynx beat the Valkyries, that is who they open with. And while Golden State has had themselves an incredible year, nobody in the W has beat expectations more than Golden State. But they are still young. They are without one of their leaders. And Seattle has had some success against the Lynx. And that is who the Lynx would play if they did lose to Golden State in this spot. I think that might be part of the reason why you're seeing Nafisa Collier lined up. Again, Minnesota, more often than not, can just roll the ball out there and put a win on the board. It's why they're booked as 7.5-point favorites tonight. And then you get to the streak. And the WNBA MVP odds had been pulled off the board for a little bit. They have been reposted. Aja is minus 1,100 to win league MVP. That's what happens when you end up going on a 15, potential 16-game winning streak to close the year. That, paired with a lot of missed time for Fee. Fee tonight, if she plays, will get to 33 games played. Aja tonight will get to 40. 7 games is a lot. Aja has also passed her in scoring in terms of points per game this season and has her beat a number of other metrics. There's a part of me that wonders if this has been seen so much as Nafisha's season that she could still steal, it's not the right word, but beat the odds here. We've seen these odds be wrong. NBA Finals MVP Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Tatum closed as minus 2,000 to win that award. It went to Jaylen Brown. Sometimes the market gets these wrong, but Aja has quite the march. And if Aja is able to close this out tonight with a victory against the Sparks, it's a 16-game win streak where they march up to the 2 seed. And I will just say, I know this has moved around quite a bit, but if Vegas is the 2, I don't know how they don't have the second best odds to win the WNBA championship. There has been some separation put back into the market between the Liberty and the Aces. We will see how the WNBA standings all shake out tonight on this Thursday. We go to the soccer world next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
GameTime Decisions is live on a Thursday night, and as always, at this time on a Thursday, we head over to the world of soccer, football. It's Thursday Night Football. I don't want to confuse people, but I just want to show some respect. Our guy Marcelino Ortiz is here, as always. Marcelino, always good to talk some soccer, some football with you, my man.
I'm here broadcasting from the Latin Nation Football Club studios. We invite you every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern to join us. All the latest news of soccer, all the info that you need to win on the margins, we will have it here. But this weekend, We have a lot of games. There's a lot of action on MLS because the playoffs are coming up. We have big games, a classic game in England. We have Manchester City versus Manchester United. And we're going to start previewing a little bit of Champions League that starts next week. So a lot to talk over the games that are going to happen in the next few days.
Absolutely. And Marcelino, we will get to the MLS, but I'd like to begin with the Premier League battle that you mentioned between United and City, the Manchester Derby here, where for United and Ruben Amorim, they need results, but this is not going to be an easy one to get against Pep's side.
Unfortunately, I do not see this game being the stepping stone for Amorim to right the ship. I think that Manchester United is facing one of the most existential crises that they've been facing. Some people will say that it's been years of this situation. Amorim at the beginning seemed to have a little bit of success and a little bit of effect on the team to play better, but the results have not been with them. They were eliminated in the very bad form of the domestic cup in the 4th round against a 4th division team, which is a terrible disaster. And the odds are clearly with Manchester City. Manchester City now is one of the favorites, both on the Premier League and on Champions League, to make a deep run. The return of Rodri into the midfield has changed the team tremendously. And the departure of Grealish also has a positive effect on the team. The upper third seems more cohesive, and they seem to be back to the winning ways of before. So I am with Manchester City on this game. Now, both teams to score, I think, is a safe bet to maximize your earnings.
Okay, so a way to get involved there with the Manchester Derby. Let's head back over to the MLS, where this weekend Lionel Messi and the Inter Miami club will play Charlotte. And as always, the expectation is for Messi to shine. What do you see, though, in a game that's booked pretty closely?
Very closely, because Charlotte is one of the late risers on the season. They are in position to clinch a spot for the playoffs if they win. They're at home. The presence of Messi has brought a record attendance to the stadium, so this might play in advantage for Charlotte. I will be looking very closely, but again, I think that Messi, that is rested because he did not play the last game with Argentina, will come and make a statement. They had unsavory reaction to their loss on the Leagues Cup final, and I'm pretty sure that Lionel Messi is going to try to change the appearance of the team, the public opinion around Miami, because right now they're under a lot of pressure, a lot of criticism. Luis Suarez won't be on the pitch because he has been suspended 9 games total, 6 games from Leagues Cup, 3 games from MLS. So they will be short on attack. But again, Messi, when he's inspired and against the ropes, I wouldn't bet against him.
Luis Suarez suspended. I guess some things will never change. Marcelino, what about San Jose and LAFC on the road? LAFC favored in this fixture. What do you make of it?
Without a doubt, LAFC, my team, is going to win this game. But again, San Jose is a tough team. Bruce Arena is the winningest coach in MLS, and he has in his team some of the best players in the league. Joseph is a player that he was the historical goal scorer for MLS. Now, not so much. He must be a little bit sad of the elimination of Venezuela from the World Cup. But again, these players, along with Chicho Arango, are always dangerous, are always trying to score. So in this one, I'm going for LAFC to score 3 goals or more, both teams to score, and both teams to score on both halves. That is a multiplier that will get you good results.
Awesome. I'll ask you quickly, Marcelino. You told us the Galaxy, it's been a bad year, but they've been playing better of late. A big-time dog, though, against Seattle.
Seattle, the champions of the Leagues Cup, against the 3rd place of the League Cup, Galaxy, that saved their season by qualifying to the CONCACAF Champions League. Now, I think that Galaxy is in the uptrend, and they might be able to put the upset. Seattle, right now, they're celebrating. They might be, a little bit in the back foot. So I'm guessing that the numbers, although they're with Seattle, I will be putting my money on Galaxy because the payoff is just too good.
Yeah, that is a big-time number, no doubt. And they've been putting together some results within their last 5 fixtures there. Marcelino, we appreciate it, as always, helping us here on this soccer slate. We'll talk to NFL insider Adam Kaplan next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Okay, with you right here on Game Time Decisions. We are approaching kickoff between the Packers and the Commanders. In-game live, of course, will have you covered throughout this football game. We are going to get a little bit of the word around this matchup, though, from our NFL insider, Adam Kaplan. And Cap, I'm curious as you hear some of the talk out of week number one, what you maybe heard from people around Green Bay's performance. People seem to be blown away. What you make of that heading into an important NFC battle here at Lambeau?
I mean, Jordan Love was terrific. I mean, the execution they had, and you have to remember, Detroit has kind of owned the Packers in Lambeau for almost 3 years. So this was you could call it a revenge game. It's obviously a big divisional game. And Detroit looked terrible. This was my biggest concern. Again, I don't want to overreact, but my job is to tell you the truth. I had issues with that football team, their lack of a pass rush. It showed up. You got two new coordinators. John Morton was called plays before in the NFL with the Jets for 1 year. Then he was let go. But he knows Ben Johnson's offense. He was with him for a couple of years. So they're still running it, his version of it. Then Kelvin Shepard's a first-time defense coordinator. So patience here is the word around the club. You got to be patient. Just let things happen. It's ironic now that who they play, Ben Johnson and the Bears this week. So that's going to be really, talk about drama and fantastic matchup. That's going to be phenomenal, Kevin. But when you look at Detroit, it's one of these situations where even before the trade, I like Green Bay to win division. Under Matt LaFleur, Kevin, they're a phenomenal regular season team. And then we get to the playoffs, they're just not as good. But you add Micah Parsons to it, and this is a whole different deal. So that's obviously something that's going to be interesting. And I think, tonight, when you watch the game, the one thing that concerns me, two starting offensive linemen are out tonight for the Packers. Zach Tom, their right tackle, and Aaron Banks, who came over from the Niners as a starting guard. They're not very deep on the offensive line. That does concern me a little bit in this matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that impacts their ability to run the ball, which was not good for the first half of that game against Detroit. Jacobs did come on a little bit in the second half. Cap, you mentioned Lions-Bears, and there are a lot of important headlines this weekend. That is absolutely one of them, where I don't know if the winner is going to be allowed to puff their chest out and celebrate, but the loser of this game, Cap, is going to take a big-time blow in the market. The Bears are already down there. The Lions, Cap, in some places, were shifted to a plus price to actually make the playoffs.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, look, if you go back to 1990, history of 0-2 teams making the playoffs is small. 0-3, it's less than 5%. So it's going to be tough. Whoever loses that game, I expect the Lions to bounce back. Dan Campbell, is a phenomenal football coach. Ben Johnson, what I want to watch is the relationship between he and Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams had an uneven first game. They know that. We've talked about this, Kevin, on Game Time Decisions and SportsGrid. It's not a talent issue around Caleb Williams. It's being coachable, playing consistent, playing with good mechanics, and playing the proper way. I'm interested to watch their relationship, because talking to people who work with Ben Johnson, he can be combustible. He coaches really hard. He coaches his coaches hard, his players hard. That's a relationship to watch going forward.
Yeah. On the other side of that, Cap, if I can actually just stick there for a second, though, the J.J. McCarthy performance, I think it's a little bit maybe in the eye of the beholder. For me, I give him credit for the fourth quarter.
Yep.
The first three quarters still happened. He was atrocious. And in the comeback, the ground game was a big part of it. And, I think, people are like, see, Kevin O'Connell, he got his guy. What did you see in that game, and what have you heard from league sources around J.J. McCarthy and his debut on the road?
People love his tough mental toughness. You talked about it for nearly three quarters. It was subpar, but to bring the team back in its first regular season start, very impressive. Now they'll make their corrections. They play Atlanta, who's an improved team. Atlanta had a very tough loss, but look, Minnesota's going to be in it for that division as long as McCarthy just plays the right way. And I can't emphasize this enough. He made big time strides in last year's training camp before he tore his meniscus. I know it's a preseason game. He played great in that game against the Raiders where he got hurt. He had a good training camp, as I understand. He's totally healthy. He's just got to get his timing back. And remember, they don't have Jordan Addison, who's serving that 3-game suspension. So that's a concern. Obviously, Thielen is back, who's a good possession receiver. Remember, Christian Darrisaw did not play last week, coming back from the torn ACL. So you have to remember all that. But yet they still found a way to win. They're going to be right there. Kevin O'Connell is the new quarterback whisperer. He's phenomenal in developing quarterbacks.
I'll say this, and this is a conversation, Cap, that you and I will do December, if not January. Very interested to see what the Brian Flores coaching candidacy looks like, because it might be another season of him getting a lot of praise for what that Minnesota defense is able to put forward. Speaking of coaches, hot seat, weird situations, Miami. Cap, you always do a great job of telling me, all right, hold on, not yet. But the Miami stuff was bad, and it has been reported in places that they took phone calls, or they were at least called, about Tyreek Hill's availability. Yeah. What are you hearing out of Miami?
He was not available in the spring. They made it pretty clear, privately and publicly, as I understand it, that they were not looking to move him. Here's the thing with Tyreek Hill. He was hurt last season, okay? He's 31 and a half years old. He's got 2 years left on his deal. They're responsible right now for just over $17 million of his contract. The rest of it is his $10 million salary, which actually makes it tradable. But the problem is, because of the domestic violence accusation, nothing more than an accusation. If your club closer to the trade deadline would be interested, you got to be comfortable. You got to know that nothing's going to happen here, because you got to know that he's going to be available. If the league, by the way, we should mention, is looking into it, which is what they typically do in these situations. They're just accusations, but you got to look at this situation for what it is. Who's an aging player. Now, if you're going to trade for him, your team that wants to make a Super Bowl run. He's still very good. For all of what is surrounding Tyreek Hill, he's a gamer, phenomenal football player, gives it his all. He's still explosive. But you do wonder, Kevin, at this age, what he could do. And one of the reasons, by the way, someone explained to me, a league source, one of the reasons why they weren't looking to move him, if you look at their receiver core, it's Jalen Waddle, and that's it. It's Hill, Waddle. They just don't have anyone who can step in. They didn't address the receiver position other than Westbrook Akine, who came over from the Titans, who's more of a third or fourth receiver. It's one thing if they spend a first-round pick at receiver, totally different. They did not do that, and they're not looking to throw the towel in yet. But as we get closer, when we get mid to late October, and if the off-the-field stuff resolves itself, that's when he could be moved.
Here with NFL insider Adam Kaplan, who joins us on Pro Football Today every Sunday. And Cap, I'm sure you'll hear more around Eagles-Chiefs as we get closer to kickoff and a little bit of clarity. But can you give us any insight into some things that could be impacting that Super Bowl rematch?
Oh, yeah. Wow. The injuries. Xavier Worthy got very light working today, but the fact that he's out there, and by the way, they're not going to put him on IR with his shoulder injury. It didn't turn out to be as bad as some people thought it was. But he's a long shot to play. But look, without him, potentially, Rashee Rice with his suspension, their passing game, Kevin, the word around the league is it still looks like it did last season. Very compressed. Only took a couple shot plays last week. One was really a broken play or improvisational play. When he improvises on Mahomes, sometimes he's special. And the pass to Tyquan Thornton was beautiful. But the big thing, Kevin, is for the Eagles, Dallas Goedert, you're a big Eagles fan. He hasn't done anything yet this week. He got hurt last week. He's got a knee injury. They have no one to replace him. Grant Calcaterra is an athlete, but he doesn't block very well. Cameron Latu was a third-round pick for the Niners a couple years ago. Would not surprise me if they add him from the practice squad and he fills in as a blocker. But that is not good if Goddard can't play. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
All right, something we're going to have to keep our eye on, and I'm sure we're going to get more insight from Cap on Sunday. NFL insider Adam Kaplan. Cap, thanks as always.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, great stuff again there it's something to watch, right? That props market as well. If you're looking for an A.J. Brown bounce back, could be a little more expensive if Goddard is out of that game. We'll be right back. It's Game Time.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Here with you, here with me. It's Game Time Decisions. We're on SportsGrid on a Thursday night with an NFC battle. Once again, it's the Packers and the Commanders, a line that has been dropping down to a flat 3, but popping back up 3.5 in some spots. We know that the Packers offensive line is banged up a little bit. More good news around Micah Parsons and his availability entering this game, though, perhaps keeping things a little bit firmer on the home favorite. To give us a little bit more insight is Mike Blewett. Does an excellent job leading our in-game live coverage on Sundays. We'll cover that 1 o'clock window. We'll talk to Mike about some of those big games. But, Mike, I want to get right to it here. Packers, Commanders, what are you seeing heading into this game?
You have a lot of young stars on both sides of the ball. I think, given the two teams' performance in the first weekend, I think you'd obviously give the gold star to the Packers defense, right? The Detroit Lions were held at bay for most of the game. The broadcast focused a lot on the Packers defense. Obviously, the offense did enough to win, but the Packers defense, Micah Parsons being a part of it, but not even necessarily the biggest star on Sunday, I think was the highlight. Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, who got really good reviews last year, starts off week one in 2025 as a potential head coaching candidate. I say that only because they mentioned it on the air during the broadcast that he'll be a head coach someday, obviously a head coach in college at BC, and now finds himself pitching a pretty good week one performance. So that leads me to say I see this as an under game.
Okay.
We bet a lot of primetime unders in the past. I think 48.5 is a pretty good number, but Kev, I'm going to lean towards the under. I have obviously faith in both quarterbacks to play well, and this could go sailing over, but I'm going to side with the defense here. Washington, perhaps not as crisp in week one as we wanted them to be. A comfortable win against a moribund team like the Giants. And the Packers defense is really good. I'd like to see them do it again against Jaden Daniels.
We started this show, the total was between 48.5 and 49. It's now 48.5 and 48. So trending the direction, Mike, that you're discussing here with two teams who are looking to have big seasons. You know, that is not lost on me entering into this game. Washington was one of those, hey, listen, not everyone's going to make it. Leave him out. Playoff picks for a lot of people. That's not where I landed on Washington ultimately. But it's a team that was in the NFC Championship game last year, and an upset here over the Packers would go a long way in the market. It would also go a long way, though, for the Packers, Mike, if they hold serve and knock off the Commanders, because they're already approaching NFC favorite status. If the Eagles lose to the Chiefs, I actually think the Packers will take that top spot in the market. I'm wondering if you have the same read.
I do have the same read, and my read preseason is that it was going to come down to the Eagles and Packers in the NFC. My official pick was Ravens, Packers in the Super Bowl. So good week one for me. We'll see if week two goes well. So my futures have already picked up a little bit of steam on the Packers, but you could get the Ravens, Packers, or certainly one of the AFC Packer combos in the Super Bowl for in the 20-1 range. So I think you're still looking at decent prices. But to your point, if the Eagles get knocked off and the Packers win tonight, that will change pretty dramatically.
These are two quarterbacks, Mike, that did see movement within the league's MVP market. Jaden Daniels now sitting with the third best price, only Josh Allen and Lamar shorter. You don't have to look much further to find the Jordan Love number, which is at 11-1. I think the case on these two teams would be, well, actually the case for Jordan Love, it would be, the Packers maybe will go 15-2. And if they have the best record, then, Aaron Rodgers, that's part of the reason he ripped off those league MVPs. For Jaden Daniels, the record has to be good, but it's probably more a Heisman-style case of the numbers are gaudy and different than most anyone else. Do either one of these guys stand out to you in this potential? I know it's early season, but does either guy stand out?
I think you laid out the case appropriately for both. I think Jaden Daniels would have to be pretty spectacular, only because I don't think they're going to win their division. I don't know where they're going to even slot in the playoff picture. I do think, like you, I haven't left them out of the playoff picture, but I don't know, if a 6 or 7 seed can have the MVP quarterback. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jordan Love, the question marks for me about him are that if this team goes 14-3, let's just throw a number out like that. Is it because he was spectacular? Or is it because of the things we've already talked about, the mixture of really interesting young playmakers in Golden and Reed, if they get Watson back, Kraft, Jacobs? Is it because of him pulling them up to a 14-3 record like a Josh Allen or Lamar can do, or Mahomes has done in the past? I don't know that that's the case. So it might be a little bit more to me like Jared Goff last year, where that was a team that ripped off 15 wins and he didn't get serious consideration for MVP at any point.
That is exactly true that happened to Goff. I think that has so much more to do with what is the understood perception of Goff. I know I do this every show basically now. It's the understood perception of Goff that was completely forgotten this offseason when all of these quarterback lists came out and somehow had Goff over the Super Bowl MVP as like the 7th, 6th best quarterback. There's no world that that's true. Nobody actually thinks that. Like, that is come on, Mike. Jared Goff, top 5 quarterback, top 6 quarterback, top 7 quarterback?
No.
Great. Nailed it. Crushed it. We're going to keep Mike Blute around, though, and talk to him about Jared Goff's game because I think he would agree Sunday at 1 o'clock, none bigger than Lions-Bears. Listen, I don't know if I've coined it, but if you like it, Mike, take it and run with it. It's the Panic Bowl. The loser of that game, it is 5-alarm fire. We'll talk about that and give you our final best bets for Packers Commanders next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a putt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions. We're buttoning it up here on a Thursday night in-game live. We'll hand it over to that crew with Scott Wetzel and Gabriel Morency as they get you set for Packers Commanders. Let's re-rack and run back some best bets. Mike Blewett's with us, who you can catch on in-game live this Sunday, handling the 1 o'clock window here. Mike, I'll go to you first. A best bet, a favorite look here for Packers Commanders.
I'm going to take that under, Kev. I'm just going to play it straight, a little primetime under. I know it's early in the season and maybe not seeing the wear and tear of those late season Thursday night games. I like the Packers D here. It is the short week. So I think we'll go with that under 48.5.
Yarnell's going to hope maybe for a full game under, but a fast start, Mike. He's on over 9.5. Kofsky has the 1-1, each team for a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown at plus 145. I'm back in the pack. I think this team has the opportunity to be an early season juggernaut against the number. Next week, they're at Cleveland. The following week, they're at Dallas. And then they hit a bye. I think there's a good chance they go into that bye 4-0 straight up and against the number. It would have to, though, continue tonight as a field goal favorite. I think we get a bit of a discount now that hook has disappeared. Worst case scenario, it could be a push if this game does land 3. I don't think it will, though. I think the Packers offense will be a little bit more on it from the go. And I think the value of being at home on a Thursday night is real. It is a touchdown Thursday if you are so inclined to be involved. I know there's the jackpot boosts out there, some wide receivers. I'm going with Terry McLaurin. Romeo Doubs gets the look from Chris, and then Matthew Golden for Sam. That's where Thursday night football is. Sunday, though, at 1 o'clock, you will be with Mike Blewett on In Game Live, tracking a number of games, Mike. But Lions-Bears, I think, will have the attention of many. And it's a line that is starting to climb. This one has jumped up now. We're seeing 6.5s here in the market. This was flat 5. I maybe a 4.5 at one point, but certainly around 5. I'm wondering, could this thing touch 7? Probably not. But what are your early thoughts around a big-time battle in the NFC North?
Ben Johnson Bowl here. Obviously, that's going to be the storyline. He gets an opportunity to play against his former team here, or coach against his former team here. I think you said it was the Panic Bowl. I understand exactly where you're coming from. The Lions do not want to be off to an 0-2 divisional start, nor do the Bears. And the Bears are a team in desperate need of a win of any kind. They are the worst team in the league in divisional games in the last 20. I believe they're up to 3-16, I think, in their last 19 divisional games. So tough for them to get a win in division. I'll tell you, I don't think it's a good spot at all for the Bears. I think the Lions, coming off a weak offensive performance, are going to try to put it on them. The Bears were down 3 defensive backs. I think it played a role in them really falling apart late defensively in that game. Obviously, Caleb did not play well in the second half of that game, and McCarthy was brilliant. But I'm going to bet the Lions, like I did a lot of times last year, with a fast start. We're going to go over Lions first half, over 13.5. There's juice on it already. I think you catch it now before it gets to 14 and you need a third score. So I think we're going over Lions first half, 13.5.
Not bad. Not mad at it. The Lions at home, we know what they're usually able to do on the offensive side of the football. We'll see if that translates, though. I also think this could just look like a high school game in some ways with all the trick plays. Like, I imagine we're gimmicked up here in this football game. Like, if I could find an over longest touchdown prop, maybe? That just came to me. Is that sharp, or is that a terrible idea? Mike, is that a little sell me something we just stumbled into?
I mean, we can talk ourselves into it 6 ways from Sunday, Kev. It's a lock. It feels like a lock. We haven't looked it up yet.
It's an immediate reminder, and it is absolutely no slight to anyone else I do sell me something with, but I miss Mike. I miss also doing it with Mike. Like, everyone has their charm within that segment. You know, Donnie used to basically give out plus 105 parlays. Lisi gives out, I mean, just you can set your watch to it. Is it Justin Fields, alt over? Did he somehow sneak in LSU to win the national title, right? But Blue would just give you something he actually does not think's going to win, but he knows is going to win, and that was always the treat. Is that how I feel about Packers -3? Maybe. I guess we'll find out. We're going to lay the 3 tonight with Green Bay and Jordan Love at home. If you want prop leans or parlay pieces, Golden bounce back, McLaurin bounce back. Jaden Daniels continues to go pedal to the metal on the ground. It's In Game Live next on SportsGrid.
Alabama, Florida State, years Georgia